much for joining us today on M&I University. M&I University offers free online learning led by industry professionals. Our mission is to help you stay ahead in the manufacturing world by providing knowledge, insight, and inspiration through a wide range of courses on topics like sales, marketing, supply chain, and emerging trends. You can join us live or access expert content at your own pace, anywhere, at any time. For those of you who don't know M&I, allow me to share a little. Also known as Manufacturers News, since 1912, we've been connecting buyers and sellers in the industrial world through our publications and tools. The Manufacturers Directories, IndustryNet, and Industry Select are the three products that we offer. Today, we're talking about blog content and generating content that's creating real value for your audiences. My friend Whitney is joining me here today. We thank you so much for your time. My name is Katie. I forgot to say that, but Whitney is going to be leading us today. So Whitney, take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm just going to get my screen share going as well. Are you able to see my screen? Okay. So hi, thank you so much. As Katie mentioned, my name is Whitney Koch. I'm an account manager and content writer with Keystone Click. Keystone Click is a strategic digital marketing agency. We help our clients build brand awareness and generate leads online. We do that by conducting research and collecting insights that allow us to build a plan that is focused on the goals of the client. Our service offerings include websites, digital marketing, marketing automation, media production, and so much more. Before we dive in, I wanted to take a minute to thank Katie and M&I for making today's webinar possible. It's been really wonderful to see M&I University grow over the last 2 years. And I'm happy to be able to not only enjoy free classes for myself, but to offer some as well. I'm sure you guys are already familiar with M&I University, that's how you're here. But if you're seeing this later, the QR code leads to the M&I University homepage. And I encourage you to monitor for upcoming classes and then check out those archived courses. Like Katie mentioned, they're continually being added, and then you can always go back and watch them. All right. So here's what we'll cover today in our time together. I'll do a little introduction of myself. We'll talk about why blogging. Why is blogging important for manufacturing companies and then other industrial companies? Once we cover that, how do you decide what to write in a blog? And then we'll cover our top 5 blogging best practices, how to let the world know that your blog exists, and I've got some time for questions if you happen to have any, so we can maybe have a little discussion. But if you do have questions along the way, please feel free to put them in the chat or in the Q&A. Katie is here, she'll see them, and then we can answer those as we go along. All right, so to get started, a little bit about me. As I mentioned, I'm an account manager and also content writer at Keystone Click. Prior to joining Keystone Click a little over a year ago, I spent 9 years at a family-owned manufacturing company, about half of that in a marketing capacity. If you are familiar with Twitter or X, I'm one of the co-chairs and also a past host of the USA Manufacturing Hour over there on Twitter. And if you are a Twitter person, we are having a chat today at 1 p.m. Central Time. So it'd be great to see you there as well. I'm a member of Women in Manufacturing Texas and former WIM Texas Marketing Director. And I'm also part of the Manufacturing Marketing Mastermind Group. One thing that we always like to encourage people to do whenever we give presentations or webinars is to encourage you to take a picture or a screenshot of anything that stands out to you during the webinar, and then post it on your social media channel of choice, and be sure to tag us and tell us how the information is going to be helpful to you. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter, as I mentioned, and we always love to see, what is really resonating with the folks who join us in our webinars. All right, so let's get started. Why blogging? Why should blogs be part of your content marketing strategy as an industrial or manufacturing company? So blogging is not new, but many companies in the industrial and manufacturing space just aren't doing it. So we'll talk about why you should be blogging now and then always. So blogs are a popular content form, especially for small businesses. Think of blogs as fuel for the search engine fire. The more content that you're sharing on your website, the more Google and other search engines really want to come back to your site. Blogging allows you to demonstrate your expertise and also builds brand recognition and trust. And what you see on the screen is an example from our own Keystone Click blog. So back in 2014, someone on our team wrote the blog, The Psychology Behind the Open Loop. So that was 10 years ago, and it's still ranking as one of our top blogs on our website. So even though, at the start 10 years ago, we put in maybe 3 hours of work creating it, it is still working for us by driving traffic to our site 10 years later. So this is really just to illustrate the point that when you write blogs, you think maybe no one will see it, or it's just going to be old news, but blogs actually have a long shelf life that you can use to your advantage, especially when you take into consideration all the other things that we're going to address in this webinar. So blogs are popular, and then also kind of like the unsung workhorses, I think, of digital marketing. So the big issue with blogs is, how do you even decide what to write? So we've got some top recommendations for writing quality content that's relevant for your audience. The first is to think about the content balance. So when you're considering what to write about on your blog, we recommend following the 80-20 rule. So this means that only 20% of the content in your blog is time sensitive and the rest is evergreen. But what does evergreen mean? Evergreen content is content that has a long shelf life, like the blog that we've had on our site for 10 years, right? It's still of interest to people. So it's going to be relevant now and even in the future. With evergreen content, we may need to periodically update it, but the overall message and information is going to be valid for hopefully years or decades to come, right? So the goal is to invest your time in creating content that will work for your business for a long time and give you that strong ROI. Time-sensitive content is, of course, still important, but it doesn't have that same long-term ROI that evergreen content has. All right, so if you're investing the time in blogging, it's extremely important to create quality content. You don't want to just throw spaghetti at the wall. You want to publish content that is of value to your target audience. Your blog isn't the place where you focus solely on selling your products or services. That's not what a blog is for. That's what the rest of your website is for, right? It's where you demonstrate your expertise by providing educational insights. So when you're thinking about providing value through your blog, a good place to start is with the questions that you and your team hear over and over again. Why is that? Well, these are the questions your customers and prospects are typing into search engines like Google to find an answer to. So writing blogs that answer their specific questions provides them with a resource for solving their problems on their own, while also positioning you as a trusted industry expert. So some ideas for quality content would be 5 ways to, how to reduce expenses, how to maintain uptime, grow your business, how to properly install ... So things that people are typically searching for. So next, I'm going to highlight a couple of online resources to help you with topic ideation for that quality content. Before I do that, though, I do want to emphasize that you and your team have expert knowledge, so use that. There are lots of great resources out there for creating or coming up with these ideas for awesome blogs, but don't discount or forget about the knowledge that you and your team members already have from working with customers and prospects. All right, so first is answerthepublic.com. And here is just a screenshot of what the homepage looks like. You can enter into the search bar here, topic, brand, or product. And then from here, you can choose, are you wanting to search Google, Bing, YouTube, TikTok, or Amazon? And when you hit search, you will get a list of the types of questions that people are searching for related to, whatever it is that you put here in the search bar. So why is this helpful? Well, it will show you the diverse ways that people are searching, and then you can use that information to inform how you write a blog about that topic. So it's always important to think about the voice of your audience and to incorporate that into your blog content when you can. Another online resource is Quora.com. So if people can't find the answers that they're searching for on Google, or maybe they don't want to go directly to Google, there are some other places they can go, like Quora and even Reddit, where they can ask a general online community. So for sites like Quora and Reddit, we recommend using those to research, what people are asking, similar to Answer the Public. And something that's a little bit different with these sites is once you write a blog post on your site, you can come on to Quora or Reddit and then write a response to a question on the site and then a link back to your website. So it's just another way to help answer somebody's question, right? Provide that relevant quality educational insight and then drive traffic to your website. So over the years, Quora has changed. You do have to set up a free account to access it. And there are some answers that have been put behind a paywall, but even with a free account, you can go in there and kind of browse around and see what people are asking. So here's just an example of one question. How do I write a professional industry blog if I'm not a pro writer, but I know a lot about the industry? So this is a pretty relevant question, right? And here are some answers, right? Some responses that people wrote, and then also related questions. So it's a great way to just sort of research what are people in your industry talking about, wondering about, and then you can use that to inform the content that you create for your own blog. So another way to create some relevant content. So we were talking about quality content. Now let's talk about relevant content. So relevancy is important for providing value to your target audience. And here's an exercise that we use internally. It's called the Lotus Blossom exercise. And we use that to help develop relevant content for our clients. So this middle circle here represents your core offering. And from there, you've got this outer circle, right, with 8 types of questions. And so you think about your core offering and then use these to brainstorm 8 types of questions related to that offering. Let's say your core offering is contract manufacturing. Some questions you might be asked are, what industries do you serve? Where do you deliver or ship to? How do you ensure your services meet quality standards, etc.? So you could use this to jumpstart thinking about those questions, and you could come up with multiple examples of the different types of questions as well. And so those can all be a long list for blogs and then also other types of marketing content. So when you sit down and go through this exercise, one thing we recommend is also going back to your email inbox because it's likely that you've been asked some iterations of these types of questions in the past. And as a bonus, so not only do you have that question, you'll have your response that you can use to jumpstart writing your blog. Another exercise that we like to do for developing relevant content, which is somewhat similar to the Lotus Blossom exercise, is the hub and spoke strategy. So here in the middle is the hub. That is a central topic from which you are generating different ideas, which are the spokes. So for example, again, if we're talking about contract manufacturing, our hub could be contract manufacturing in general. And then the spokes could go into the different types of manufacturing services you offer under that umbrella. So one might be like a deep dive into fabrication, one into welding, et cetera, et cetera. So all of the spoke blogs go deeper into their particular topic and still point back to that original hub blog in the middle. So this is really just a ton of content that can be converted into other types of marketing content, and we'll get into that a little bit later as well. So aside from those exercises and then also those online resources that we looked at, there are some, quality content ideas really all around you. So think about frequently asked questions, again, like revisit your inbox. What are people asking about? You can conduct interviews. So that could be with the SMEs in your business. You can talk about product or service benefits. Think about industry trends or news that whatever's going on that's relevant for you. That would sort of fall into the 20% time sensitive category, right? How-tos, everyone loves a how-to. This is also a great place for kind of like mini case studies, showcasing recent projects, things that you've worked on as a way to demonstrate your expertise. And, I know trade shows and then industry seminars are pretty popular, right, within manufacturing. So, use that as a source of some content, right? So go to a trade show, go to a seminar, and then write a blog post about that experience. Outside of those things, there are also a couple of great sources for topics that we really like and recommend. So BuzzSumo is an online resource for uncovering industry topics that are getting the most attention and for seeing who is most influential online in your industry. So BuzzSumo used to make a lot of things or make a certain number of searches free, but it has switched from being a freemium site to a paid site, though there is a free trial. So because there is so much potential through BuzzSumo to generate a lot of quality content ideas and show you who in your industry is sharing the most related content or who has the most clout, we do recommend that you try that free trial to help you get started. And then if you have someone on your team who can actually be dedicated to content marketing and leverage the information that's in BuzzSumo, then I would recommend considering a paid account there. But for example, this just kind of shows you what it looks like, right? You can see what's trending under the Discover tab, what is it that people are talking about? And then you can pick a topic to search for it. And, you can filter by languages, etc., and see, what is the engagement like for that topic, on the web, on Facebook, etc. So it's a really great source if you want to dive deeper into blog topics. All right, and then the last online source that I want to share with you is perplexity.ai. So AI has been a big buzzword now for about, the last year and a half, 2 years. And ChatGPT has really gotten a lot of that attention, but we like Perplexity, especially for our manufacturing clients when we're developing content. Why is that? It links to its sources. So if you put a question here into Perplexity, it doesn't just spit out an answer and you have to go and check to make sure that it's actually valid. It provides direct links to the sources of where it's getting that information. And you can use those references to then flesh out your own blogs and use them as resources to link to within your blogs. And including links to outside sources is an important SEO practice and can over time help your site get backlinks, as well as prove to search engines that your site is credible and improve your visibility in those search engine result pages. And I know Katie knows a lot about backlinks too. So it's important to give backlinks and then build your credibility so you can be on the receiving end of those backlinks as well. I also like Perplexity because you can sign up for free. And when you create that free account, it will save your search history here in the library. And when you go to your library, you can then organize your past searches. So kind of like group them into, bigger topics, or even have the option to collaborate with others if you've got, more people on your team that you can brainstorm with. So if you're looking to dip your toe into AI, if you haven't already done so, Perplexity is a really great tool for that. All right, next, let's talk about best practices. So we've got our top 5 best practices for blogging. So we've covered ideation, how to come up with those quality relevant content for your blog posts. So let's actually talk about how you go about writing them. So number 1, make it easy to read. So that might seem like an obvious statement, but we still see blogs like this example on the left that are essentially solid walls of text. So I just want you to take a second and look at that, this example here on the left. What is your impression when you look at that? I don't know about you, but I am not interested in reading that blog post.
Boring.
Yeah, it doesn't look exciting. I mean, it does say the most boring thing ever written, and the way it's displayed there, I feel pretty confident that that title is accurate, right? If I want to skim it to try and get a sense of whether I do want to read it, my eyes have a difficult time skimming, right? There's, no other formatting, nothing's bold, nothing's italicized. It's really just like 2 big paragraphs and nothing really breaking it apart. So compare that to this example over here on the right. So this blog has a clear, bold headline. It's a different color, it stands out. The content below it is chunked, right? We've got shorter paragraphs, we've got a bulleted list. These are hyperlinks and they're different colors, so they really pop. And because of those things, it's much more easily skimmed, read, and digested. And so when you're writing your blogs, you want to consider those things also, like how can you incorporate visuals, so maybe images, videos, graphs, charts, etc., to visually break up the content and make it more enticing to read, so you're not just staring at a wall of text. So as you're writing your blog, your initial draft might look something like the first example, right? But before you go to publish on your website, you want to put yourself in your reader's shoes and ensure that it's easy to read and easy to understand. So reconfiguring some of the formatting, etc. Even better if you start writing out your blog thinking from the reader's perspective and trying to incorporate things like bulleted lists and subheadings as much as possible to make it more readable and just improve the reader's experience as well. All right, number 2 is check the title strength. This best practice ties into the reader's experience and also SEO, search engine optimization. Your blog titles are ultimately what encourage someone to click through and read. So this applies to blogs and then also emails, right? Think about all the emails you get in your inbox and their subject lines and which emails do you open, right? The subject line of the email plays a big part in that. So it's important to remember that people engage with content that adds value to them and connects with them either on an intellectual or emotional level. So you want to make sure that your blog title is clear on how it will either educate or entertain your reader. There are lots of free online headline analyzers that can help you build stronger headlines that will engage your readers and also will support your SEO efforts. This one right here is the CoSchedule free headline analyzer. You can see, you type your headline here in the search box, and then there's a drop down. So you can select, which platform your headline will be on. You can also test email subject lines here, and then you would click Analyze Now to get your feedback. At Keystone Click, we use the paid Headline Studio, and this is what our search results look like. So here is my headline up at the top. I'm searching for a blog, and it analyzed it. So I have a headline score right here of 69. So it's on a scale of 1 to 100. You're not looking for a score of 100. It's pretty difficult to achieve.
Yeah.
It takes into consideration. But we recommend aiming for between 50 and 75. That's a pretty good zone. So the Headline Studio specifically measures things like the word count, character count, and also the reading level of the headline. It will give you insights into the emotion words and then overall sentiment of your headline, so you can be sure that the headline is conveying what you intend. And then also think about, you're trying to connect with your readers either on an intellectual or emotional level. So is the sentiment hitting that right emotion that you're aiming for? And if you have the paid Headline Studio like we do, you can do some testing to play around with words and then see how that changes your score, and it'll show you the version history over here on the right-hand side. So that's just kind of handy to see how little tweaks can improve your score or worsen your score. Number 3 is target more words. So as a reminder, blog posts are not about overtly selling your products or services. They're about providing the reader, or they're about proving, to the reader that you are an expert in your industry by answering those questions that they have and providing them with value. And when you think about it, it's kind of hard to prove your expertise in something in just a couple of paragraphs, right? So that is something to keep in mind when you're considering how long should a blog post be. Also, Google and other search engines, they love content. So writing longer blogs will help with SEO. Some of my manufacturing clients have questioned the length of blog posts that we've written and have wondered, is our target audience even going to read all of this? So first, we want to make sure that our blogs are formatted to be skimmable, like we talked about in number 1. So we want to think about, from the reader's perspective, the formatting, making sure we have headlines, subheadings, imagery, lists, etc., to make the content of the blog more appealing and then also more digestible. Second, you want to use words that connect and resonate with your target audience. So you want to remember and keep in mind how they're searching in Google. So we're avoiding industry jargon and going for that actual voice of customer, right? What are the words that they use when they search that may or may not be, the quote unquote industry term. So when we have longer blog posts, that allows us to more thoroughly address what it is your audience is searching for by incorporating those keywords. And then this in turn helps your blog post show up in organic search results. So third, we also need to keep SEO in mind, which we're going to get into a little bit more. So here's an example of the importance of having longer blog posts. So Lori Hybe, the CEO and founder of Keystone Click, she really enjoys sharing this example. She loves to cook and bake. So a couple of Christmases ago, she was searching online for a unique cookie recipe because she really wanted to mix up her holiday baking. And when she searched on Google, this recipe for white chocolate cherry cookies was in her search results, even though she wasn't specifically searching for white chocolate cherry cookies. Because Lori is just a marketing mind, she was really intrigued that this was in her search results and dug into why this particular recipe showed up. So when she searched, the recipe had over 2,700 words. So you can see up here, it's been updated since then. It was updated earlier this year, and it's been trimmed down to about 1,800 words. And not all of those words are the recipe or the instructions for baking the cookies, right? If you've ever searched online for recipes, you've probably come across this where it seems like you have to scroll through their whole life story before you actually get to the recipe. So for this particular example, the first part of the blog is a personal story. Before she shares the ingredients, she's talking about hosting a cookie exchange. After the recipe, she has an FAQ section, tips and tricks, and related recipes. So it's all this other content that she had with the cookie recipe that related to Lori's initial search in Google for unique holiday cookies. And that's how it ended up in her search results. All right. Okay, so next, let's talk about optimizing your posts. So this is, again, related to SEO. Your blog should be optimized for SEO. Whatever your target keywords are, they really need to appear throughout your blog, including in the URL, including the title tag. And this is what shows up on the Google search results page. The meta description, which is also visible on those search results. Throughout the body content of your blog, it's important to do this naturally and not stuff your target keywords in your blog post that actually can hurt you. And remember too that you're writing for people, right? You want to optimize for SEO, but write for people. So your keywords should be there naturally. Also, your keywords should be in your alt tags. Your alt tags are what educate search engines and then also screen readers as to what the images on the page are. And when you include your keyword in your alt text, that will of course help with SEO, and having alt text is an accessibility best practice that we recommend. So here's kind of an example, pardon me. I just searched in Google M&I University. And so you can see those keywords, they show up here in the URL, university.mni.net. They're in the title tag, M&I University, and this right here is the meta description. So you can kind of see where those keywords will live when you optimize your blog content. And I know SEO, people talk about how important it is, which it is important, but if you're not familiar with it, it can be really overwhelming. So here's a couple of online tools that can help you with SEO. Moz.com has a lot of free tools that can educate you on how to best optimize your blogs. They do have some paid services as well. Moz would be a great starting point if you're new to the world of SEO and you're just trying to, get started with your blog, get something out there, and try to optimize it as best you can for where you're at right now. If you're a little more advanced in SEO, we really like the paid tools and features of SEMrush. It's a very robust tool for just tracking, how visible is your website on search engines, which keywords are you ranking for, etc. All right, lastly, number 5, best practice is posting consistently. So this is a really basic example of a content calendar. Content calendars help you plan out your blog content in advance and stay on track to publish content consistently. So what is consistent can, of course, vary. So for a smaller company, that might be once a month. If you are a bigger company or have a bigger marketing team and greater capacity, that could be once a week. Whatever it is, the important thing is to stick with, that cadence that you are choosing. That's the importance of consistency, right? So here's a kind of an analogy for you. Think about working out. Okay, you can't go to the gym one time and expect to immediately lose weight or immediately have stronger muscles. To achieve either of those things, you have to consistently show up at the gym and work out. So the same is true for demonstrating your expertise through content. Putting one blog post up on your website isn't going to do it. It's certainly a great place to start, but that's not the only step, right? You won't get a ton of recognition or exposure from a single blog post. Publishing quality content consistently is going to build your brand into a quality resource. And it's important, again, to note, your blog posts don't have to be perfect. There's a saying, done is better than perfect. You want to just get something out there to start being a resource to people. And remember that you can always go back and should go back to make changes, right? To continue optimizing, updating, etc. All right, and when we talk about how to get your blog out there to people, here is kind of an interesting statistic as far as, how do you let people know that your blog exists? So have you ever seen the movie Field of Dreams? Or I guess,
Yes.
Yeah, then you probably know that famous line, if you build it, they will come. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that does not apply to your blog or to your website or really to anything in business, unfortunately. So in 2016, Radium One researched how people are actually sharing content, and they found that 84% of sharing happens on what's termed dark social. It's really just a way of saying it's happening behind the scenes on channels like email, social media, direct messages, texts, etc. So it's just unfortunately not measurable. Here's a little bit of a breakdown from their research. So what this means is the majority of content sharing is happening, again, where we can't directly measure it. So if you write a blog and share it to your LinkedIn profile, for example, that's public sharing. And if you've got analytics installed on your website, which we highly recommend that you do, then you should be able to see, who is clicking on that link that you shared and then coming back to your website to read the blog, right? So that's public, you can see that. But if someone then sees your post that you made about your blog on LinkedIn and shares that to one of their connections as a direct message on LinkedIn, that would be an example of dark social, and that's not going to show up in your analytics. So whenever you look at the analytics for your blog or really any of your digital content, it's important to keep in mind that the numbers that you see don't show the whole picture. They don't account for whatever sharing is happening behind the scenes, which we know from this research is a lot. So another way to get your blog out there and distribute your blog, we like to think about the concepts of reduce, reuse, and recycle for digital content. So by recycle, we really mean upcycle. So this paper icon on the left, this is representing, one blog post that you write. So as we've discussed in this webinar, this blog post is quality relevant content of about 1,200 words. You've thought about your reader and you've added appropriate subheadings, bulleted lists, images, all that good stuff, your keywords. It is as polished as it can possibly be when you publish it. You take that and then you slice and dice that blog post to create content for LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Whatever social channels you're on, or even, if you have email marketing, it could be part of an email marketing campaign. The point is, you start with this one polished blog, and from that you create multiple pieces of content to ultimately point back to that original polished blog that's on your website. So when you think about your content calendar as well, upcycling your content will help you fill that out and then stay more consistent on your digital channels. So if we go back to our simple little content calendar here, right? Right now we're just showing blogs, but we could add in, the posts for Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., that are based on those blog posts to really have a more fleshed out, consistent content calendar. So another way to get your blog out there is to reuse. So remember earlier on we talked about the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your content should be evergreen content. So that's content that is timeless, right? You can use your social media scheduling tool to repost that evergreen content that you've created as part of your upcycling on a regular basis. So you set up the post one time and then kind of like let it run on autopilot. You do want to go back and revisit it periodically. You want to, investigate to see, what is the engagement on this post like? Is it consistently getting low engagement? Do I need to change some of the wording or the imagery, or just fully remove it from my queue? So a lot of social schedulers have this option for scheduling repeated evergreen content. Here's just a couple of examples. I'm going to show you Sendable. Sendable has their queues for, posting evergreen content kind of on repeat. Hootsuite does it as well. Sprout Social also calls it a queue. Planable has a recycle post option. So again, as I mentioned, we use Sendable at Keystone Click, and here's an example queue that has run in the past, promoting client feedback. So again, these posts were something that we kind of created one time. We, did the imagery, we wrote the text, put it all together, added it into this queue, and then we can go in and set up time slots and dictate to Sendable how frequent it should be reposted, turn it on, and then it will push out those posts on that scheduled basis for us without us having to do anything else. So that's a really great option for reusing that evergreen content. You want to invest the time in evergreen content and then make sure that you are putting it to use so you're really getting that return on investment. All right, and lastly is reduce. So kind of like what we were just talking about, if you're upcycling your content and reusing it, you are ultimately reducing the time and financial investment associated with managing your digital marketing content. And really, who doesn't want to save time and money, right? So there are so many benefits to investing that time up front and then reaping the rewards later. And this is one of those. All right, so why is blogging important? Let's just do a quick recap. Blogging will help you generate leads because you are showcasing your expertise. Blogging will help you position your brand in a strong way, especially in manufacturing. A lot of manufacturers will say, our products, our processes are high quality. But if everybody says that, that's not really differentiating you, right? So having something like a blog where you are consistently posting and educating your target audience, that is a way to differentiate you from your competitors and then position you as the expert, right? If they're trying to decide between you and your competitors, which one do I want to work with? This is something that can really set you apart and be part of that differentiation that helps them choose you ultimately. And blogging is generating value for your target audience, which will ultimately bring value back to your business through sales of your products or services like we were talking about, right? If you can use a blog to differentiate yourself from your competitors, that will help people choose you as their preferred partner or vendor, and again, bring that value back to you through sales. So a quick summary, we have covered why blogging is important. We gave you some resources, tips, and tools on how to decide what exactly to write about in your blog. We shared our top 5 best practices for blogging. And lastly, we covered how to make sure people know your blog exists. All right, so do we have any questions? I think I saw maybe some questions in the question box.
It's been answered.
Oh, okay, great.
Is it only me?
Okay.
Like, is it only me that is?
For right now, so
Yeah, I only
that's
see
the
your
floor.
question. Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much. That was immensely helpful to me,
Oh, great.
simply because I just started doing this.
Oh,
And this
awesome.
is such a serendipity that I actually found about you guys, and I have to write for articles that I need to publish for the free advertising part, and I'm at a loss. So I have 2 questions.
Okay.
First of all, is Twitter? I was told that it's good when I blog to post it on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. Is Twitter okay for people like us?
That's a great question. And I would say you need to look at your ideal customer persona, right? So hopefully you guys already have some research on who your ideal customer is and where they go for information. So that might be Twitter, but it might not be. So unfortunately, I don't think I can give you a definite answer. It really just depends on, your ideal customer and where it is that they spend their time. Personally, anecdotally, I don't know that I would spend my time on Twitter. It's changed a lot in the last couple of years.
Exactly. That was my hesitation.
Yeah, and I think, especially in the manufacturing and industrial space, you'll likely get better results on a platform like LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yes. Thank you. So we how did we start at all? We're a machine shop in Chicago with my husband, and I are mainly running it. And he had more than 50 years of experience in machining. So we realized that when he retires, all this knowledge will be lost.
Yes.
Our kids are in similar fields. They're learning now how to be engineers, and I was thinking of doing something like this, just to make it comprehensible,
Yes.
readable, and you use a word I'm going to remember, skimmable. I think that will be of mutual value for us and our customers and future customers, to put it in a readable content.
Yes, totally. And I would recommend too, or suggest, especially for smaller manufacturing outfits, right, where, it's usually fewer than 100 people, everyone is super busy and wearing multiple hats, and they maybe don't have time to sit down and write out their expertise. Okay, this is where tools like Zoom, for instance, can be really helpful. They don't have to write down anything. They can just
save me so much time.
Yeah, they can just record. You can do kind of like an interview, record it, and then use a tool like Fathom or Otter AI to transcribe it, and then use that to pull the information. Or, if they've got their cell phone, they can record like a voice note, so I think that's important too, to convey to those SMEs or business leaders who are really busy, that, okay, you don't have to sit down and write anything. Let's use some other tools.
Yes,
but you can share information, and I'll do the rest.
And yes, and my second question, I need to write an article for this industry net blog, or I'm still figuring this out. What would be a good title, catchy title? What keywords should I use in there? I'm really new in this.
Okay, well, that really just kind of depends on what the topic is, right? So do you already
have a new product that we would like to introduce to the world?
Okay, so it's a little bit more like a press release type situation where you're announcing a new product. Is that the case? Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit different than writing a blog. I can send you, if you will, drop your email in the chat. I sent some press release resources to one of my clients. that I would like to share with you, because writing a press release is a little bit different than writing a blog. So I would like to share that specific resource with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let me just scroll down so I write it and don't miss it, Pete.
To mention that when I was younger, my grandpa was getting older and he had so many good stories to tell. And so we got him on a tape recorder and just recorded him telling stories. We asked him questions and we recorded him. We started to do that with my dad also because he has incredible stories to share. And I'm picturing you interviewing these people who've been with your company for so long that are going to be retiring soon.
Yes.
Record them, capture that for you so that you always have it for years to come, but then make those YouTube videos. I love YouTube and I would just eat those up. Those would be such good YouTube
Yeah,
videos.
we just started. Yes.
Well, that's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
We just started and we have such
fun.
a positive response from people that we just started and people are responding so positively.
Awesome. Yeah, and I will say, like, at my previous role in my previous company, that small manufacturing company, we had that issue too, where, you know, we had a handful of super knowledgeable people who'd been with the company for decades and they had so much knowledge. And unfortunately, there really wasn't any planning going on like, how do we capture what it is that they know so that we have it to even just for internal use, right? To create training and things like that. So
Absolutely.
I really like the YouTube idea as well, because on YouTube, you can make videos private and then just share that, you know, use that to house videos and then share those private links, you know, for internal training even. But yeah, that's huge for sure. But yeah, as far as kind of circling back to headlines, right? You want to think about connecting with readers on an emotional or intellectual level too, right? So if you're doing a press release for a new product, why should they care, right? Why should they care that you have a new product? What's in it for them? So what about this new product is going to be of value to them? Is it going to solve a certain problem or pain point? You know, I would try to think about that and, you know, see how you can incorporate that into your headline.
Yeah, I try to go towards emotional always. That's my nature. So I have to be, I arraign myself to be more impartial and neutral because this is technical stuff. You cannot always run on emotions.
Yeah, that's true. But we're all still human, and even technical buyers buy things based on emotion sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was great. Do you have any other questions? I'm happy to chat some more if you've got other ones.
No, thank you so much. That was incredibly valuable for me.
Okay, great. And I wrote down your email, so I'll send you that press release, those press release resources that I'd share with the client.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Have a great day.
Oh, yes.
Shared a link in there also for Fathom. So if you wanted to try out Fathom, it's awesome. It's a lifesaver for me. I have ADHD, and whenever I get on meetings, sometimes they're long and I forget some of the important things. It captures everything for me. So check that out too. Fathom is awesome. You can even have a meeting with yourself and record yourself and love it.
Yes, we do that. I do that for just like quick client how-tos instead of using the recorder in Zoom, because Fathom processes way faster than Zoom.
And it's so accurate.
Yes, and then you also you'll get the recording and then like the transcript and a summary. So that's amazing for sharing. So I'll include that as well. But yes, for you here watching live and anyone who watches later, you can either scan the QR code or go to that URL if you'd like to get a copy of today's deck. And we'd love that if you want to reach out or if you have any other questions about building a blog that provides real value, or questions about any of our other marketing services, you know, please feel free to reach out. Here is my email address. And then this is also our contact information. So we're in Milwaukee, not that far from you in Chicago. And also our social handles. So again, if there is anything that, you know, really stood out to you that you want to share, please feel free to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's all I had.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Whitney. Always a ton of valuable information when we have you on M&I University. I appreciate you guys so much at Keystone Click. Angela, and thanks for coming again. 2 days in a row. Maybe we should do something tomorrow.
Absolutely. No, this is just the moment that I need this information. Couldn't have come in a better moment.
Perfect. Oh, awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.